Yo, what up, world? 502 King Paul coming to y'all with another video, man. So the whole purpose of this channel, before I hop into the topic of this video, whole purpose of this channel is to create value, to create valuable content to push out into the world that's going to create a positive change. And I guarantee you this video will bring value to your life. It will help change your mentality on relationships and change your view of the world. Now, this is going to be the beginning of a series I'm going to start, man. All about relationships. I'm going to tell you why I'm starting this series. So the other day, right, I'm on social media. I see this post from a young lady. It's actually a post that she had reposted from someone else. And it said, I'm kind of summarizing here, but it says, I've never been as uninterested in men as I am right now in my life. I've never been as uninterested in men as I am right now in my life. And I'll go on, I'll look at the comments on the original post, and there's a bunch of course, some upset fellas on there. You know, well, go gay then. Why don't you just go gay? Why are you blaming everything on the men for? Why is it all the men's fault? Why do we got to do everything? How come y'all can't work on yourself? Why you always want to blame things on the brothers? What did we do? How come we're not good enough? How come we can do this, this, and this, and you guys don't do this? Fast forward, man, I'm also having a conversation with a couple of the homeboys. And it seems to kind of be an echoing thing that I'm hearing over and over and over again from young men, my generation and down especially, man. I'm talking about early 30s down to, you know, the 20s. I'm hearing this a lot, man. And that is that women these days are just not wifeable. Women these days are this. Women these days are this. How can she expect me to do this when she does this? How can she expect me to want to do this? Why do I got to provide? Why do I got to protect? Why do I got to do all this? And she's not listening to me. She doesn't want to submit to me. I don't want all the drama. I don't want all the back talk. I don't want this and this and that. And with all this being said, man, I feel like this video, the message in this video is very much needed in today's world. Like I said, it's going to bring a lot of value. So y'all just stay tuned and check this out. One thing that I've noticed, the key difference between the older generations and my generation and down is work ethic, man. It's work ethic. The older generations, the men and women, they work way harder than we do. I don't care what job you have in today's world. It's nowhere near as hard as the jobs and occupations that people had back in the day, that they had 50 years ago, 100 years ago. We have it so much more easier in today's world. And it's created an environment and a mentality of everything should come to me easy. Everything should come to me easy. When we look at the old generations, man, they worked hard, not only on their job, but they worked hard in their household. They worked hard in their communities. They worked hard to be successful parents, to raise their children right. And they worked hard in their relationships. And that's one thing that I've noticed that is really missing in this generation. And the reason why a lot of relationships are starting to fail is because we don't want to work. We don't realize that relationships take work. They take work in order for the relationship to work. You can't just get into a relationship and think that you're going to hit auto cruise, autopilot, and everything is going to be okay. It takes work. A lot of people battle with addiction in today's world. A lot of people battle with all these different demons that they're fighting because they don't want to take the time to work on themselves, to work on the issues that are going on in their life. It's much more easier to take a drug, to get drunk, to do all these different things, to take your mind away from the issue instead of actively working on the issue. See, a lot of times what happens is, especially in this generation and lower, is that we get into positions and then we become content in life. We get into a position and then all of a sudden it's like once we get it, we stop working as hard once we're actually in that situation is what it took for us to get into the situation in the first place. I see it all the time, man, with jobs. You know, People get into these positions, they work so hard, they pray, God, please let me get this position. It'll change my life, it'll change my life, it'll change my family's life, it'll change everything if I can get this position. But I see a lot of people in my generation, man, they have a hard time holding on to a position once they actually get into it. They have a hard time actively putting in the work day in, day out to excel inside that position and possibly get a promotion into a higher position. A lot of people in my generation, man, I noticed that they cannot hold on to a job for a full year. A lot of people bounce around. They get into a position and then they had a job for 6 months, 8 months, and like, you know what? This ain't the job for me anymore. I'm going to quit. I'm going to go on to something else. Man, same thing. We can apply this to a lot of different things in life, man. Some people get a new car. Man, I got that 2022 Hellcat, man. I got that 2022 Hellcat. Dream car, man. That's my dream car. But then 2024 rolls around, right? And now they done remodeled the Hellcat a little bit, just a little bit. You know, now the new one has a little different grill on the front. The new one has a different tire base. The new one has a different spoiler on the back. You know, the new one has all, you know, little small differences about it. And it's like, man, you know, I love this car. This is my dream car, but now I want to trade it in. I need the new joint. I can't do it. And the same mentality that we use when it comes to work, when it comes to cars, when it comes to anything in our life, man, is that we just want to throw things away once things get hard, once it gets a little bit old. What I notice is a lot of people, they get into relationships, right? Be in relationships for 3 months, 6 months, a year. And it's like, you know, things was cool when, you know, the sex was new. Things was cool when, you know, this was a new person, new personality, man. Things was cool when, you know, this was the guy, the girl I had my eyes set on. I'm like, man, you know, I gotta be with that person. I gotta be with her, man. Her body's banging. She's so beautiful. If I could just get with her, and then you get her, and then what? You get her, and then you start relaxing. You get content. You get content. All the things you were doing in the first place to try to, you know, show that you are worthy to be with this woman, and I'm speaking from a male perspective at this point, all the things that you did, you stop doing, you start falling back. You're looking at all the little small things that really don't even matter, man. I don't like the way she chews her food. I don't like the way she does this. You know, I don't like the way certain family members act. I don't like the way that she has this habit that I just can't stand. And you start picking apart all the small things, but not remembering why you wanted this woman so much in the first place, man. Relationships take work. And whatever it is that you put into the relationship is what you're going to get out of the relationship. Man, I'm going to say this for my personal relationship, man. I noticed that when I started working on myself, when I started to, you know, I started to read more, when I started to hit the gym more, it was like a domino effect. My girl started reading more. She started working out more. It's a domino effect. And that's one thing that a lot of men don't realize, man, is that we have to be the lead. A lot of things that we're asking for out of women, we're not giving ourselves. You know, if you want a woman to love you, then you got to show love. If you want a woman to forgive you, then you got to show forgiveness. If you want a woman to serve you, you have to serve her. And it's a conversation that a lot of people are leaving out. See, we're so stuck in this time of where women couldn't work. Women couldn't go to school and get their education. Women couldn't vote. So what you're saying is, you know, you want things to go back to a Stone Age time. You want women to have no rights. You want them to be at a subservient level to you and not have any life of their own. But instead of complaining about how things are now, where women are putting so much emphasis on their education, they're putting so much emphasis on their job, they're putting so much emphasis on this and that. Man, adapt to the times. Adapt to the times. True enough, yeah, back in the day, you know, 50, 60, 70 years ago, yeah, women were sitting at home all day and cooking and cleaning and taking care of the children. But it's a different world that we live in now. Totally different kind of world. And the man was bringing home, he was going out into the world, working hard, bringing home the bacon. We don't live in that world anymore. And I know this is going to rub some men the wrong way, because it'll be like, man, Paul, it sounds a lot like you're putting all the blame on the men. But if you understand, and I don't want to go too religious, but I do want to break this down. If you understand the order of the world, if you understand the order of relationship, then you realize that it starts with you. Well, it starts with God. Then it's you. And you want to be over the woman, but you don't want to set the example. You don't want to lead correctly. And that's where I'm seeing a lot of men fail at, man. Because you want this woman to be all this stuff that you want her to be. But you're not showing her that. Because back to what I was saying about the whole working on myself, reading, and when I was working out, and then my girl started working out. She started reading. She started working on herself. It's because they're following your lead. Women would love to follow your lead, man. I've seen so much stuff out on social media. I've heard so much stuff come out of women's mouth. Regardless of whatever men think, they want to follow. They want to follow. They naturally want to follow. But they will only follow a man who they can trust that they can follow. And when you're someone who's super over emotional, when you're someone that has to yell and do all this aggressive stuff to try to control a woman, she's not going to respect you, man. It doesn't work like that. Relationships, and that's one thing that I've learned from my early 20s on up to right now, man. You cannot get anybody's respect through aggression. The only places where that works is when you're playing sports. I'm going to be honest. It's the only place where it works. When you're boxing, when you're playing football, when you're playing basketball and you're super aggressive, yeah, you can get some respect out there on the court, on the field, inside that boxing ring. But when it comes down to your home with your woman, you'll find out that aggression, that yelling, that arguing, all that trying to raise your voice, use your posture to try to intimidate a woman, is going to be counterproductive. She's not going to respect you when you handle yourself in that way. When you carry yourself in that way, you think that it's going to get respect, right? Because you think, hey, if I get into it with another dude, I beat him up, he's going to respect me. It doesn't work that way with women. You can't do women like that, man. You can't do women like that. Like I said, I don't want to go super religious, but because I want to keep this video to where anybody can take this in, anybody can use this, anyone can get value from this. But if you look at the Bible, and I'm going to wrap this video up with this here. If you look at the Bible, the story of Adam and Eve, we all know, regardless of your religious background, you know the story of Adam and Eve. Eve was in the garden with the serpent. The serpent talked her into taking a bite of the apple. Now, this was something that was forbidden by God, right? But she took a bite of the apple, and you'll find that when God came and he asked, he said, "Where are you?" He wasn't talking to Eve. He wasn't asking where Eve was. It says specifically for a reason that he asked where the man was. He asked where Adam was. Even though Eve made the mistake, even though Eve got tricked by the serpent, he came looking for Adam. And he asked, well, why are you naked? Why are y'all naked for? He's questioning Adam about what Eve did. Don't let that go over your head. He's questioning Adam about what Eve did. Because where were you at when she was getting tricked by this serpent? Why did this serpent have more power? Why did this serpent have more influence, more leadership capability over this woman than you did? You were set here to lead her. How did this snake trick her or con her into eating this apple? He came looking for Adam. So when a lot of men, and like I said, I know this may ruffle a few feathers, but when men say, well, why is it on me? Why is it my responsibility? Because if you're a leader, then be a leader. If you're the man, then be the man. Set the example. Show the love. It's a lot of ways that we can show God's love in our relationships. Because if you truly believe in that hierarchy, God, man, woman, then you know that you have to set the example. You have to lead by example. You have to show God's love. You have to show that forgiveness. You have to show that mercy. You have to show that grace. A lot of times, man, women will sit back and look at how you handle a situation, and they will mirror how you handle a situation. So if you think that your woman's nagging at you too much, if you think that she's just getting on you too much, she doesn't respect you, look at how you're treating that woman. Do you talk to her with respect? Do you talk to her in a way that's demeaning? Are you showing her love? Are you showing her forgiveness? Because if you're not doing these things, why would you expect a woman to do these things? And I'm not saying that women don't have certain things that they're supposed to do, duties that they're supposed to fulfill inside of a relationship. But what I am saying is, if the man fulfills his duty, it makes it so much easier. This woman's going to see you. She's going to see the God in you. and she'll be willing to submit. And that's just something that I've learned in my life, man. That's something that I'm learning, and I've learned over the years, is that you cannot try to manipulate women. See, a lot of times men think that they're going to manipulate a grown woman, that you can trick her, that you can kind of, excuse my language, that you can half-ass and do some of it, but not do all of it, but you still expect her to do all of it. And there's going to be a lot of men that say, well, you know, I did this, and that. And I provided, man. I gave her money and I did this and blah, blah. And it's like, okay, man, that's a small part of it. It's like a basketball player saying, yeah, man, I know how to shoot, but I don't know how to dribble. But give me a contract, coach. I know how to dribble, but I don't know how to shoot. I know how to pass, but I don't know how to do a lay. It's like, okay, you got a piece of the game. You got a piece of it, but you have to put in that work and get it all, man. Because one thing I know for sure and for certain is that when you're bringing it all to the table, when you're bringing it all, and certain things you can't change. You can't change how you look. You can't change how you talk. You can't, certain things you just cannot change because that's who you are. But what I'm talking about here is characteristics, certain traits, certain actions, the things that you do. You can always change that. You can always modify that. And they say, oh, well, I did all these things, but were you listening to her? Were you listening to the things that she actually valued? Because sometimes we may be placing our value in places that the woman's not placing their value. We may be shelling out money. I paid all the bills. I did this and that. I did that. She didn't have to worry about a thing. But what she wanted was some time. Get what I'm saying? Sometimes we may... well, she needs to be there for me. She needs to whatever because I'm going through some things. But were you there for her? Were you listening to her? Were you there for her emotionally? See, a lot of times men get mad because women talk to their friends, they talk to their parents, they talk to other family members about things that they think that this woman should talk to me about. But how receptive are you to the things that she's actually going through? How much do you really care? Like I said, man, relationships are work. But like the old saying goes, if you love what you do, or in this case, who you're doing it for, it will not seem like a job. It will not seem like a job, man. That's all for this episode, man. I do want to thank y'all for your time. If you like anything about the message, anything at all, take a moment, go down below, like the video, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel already, I ask you to take a moment, man, just hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can get all my new videos as soon as I drop them, man. I pray that this video has been of value to you. I pray that this video has a positive impact on your life. And I just want to thank y'all for your continued support throughout this whole channel's journey. It's 502 King Paul. Love y'all. I'm out.